Come in.
You ready?
Oh, I need about 10 more minutes. We're not late, are we?
Well, our reservation is at 7:30. Look, if I break all the speed limits, we're still not going to get there until 8:45.
You don't have to worry if you do drive a little fast. You're practically like having a police escort anyway.
Paige, I wish we did have a police escort. This is a terrible idea, going out to dinner tonight.
Why? I mean, you've taken me out before. Steve, I really feel like celebrating tonight. It's the first time in months that I am sure I'm not going to prison.
Yeah, and you were sure there were no more assassins. Now there is one, according to Tobias.
Now I am sure that the police are going to catch him. Look, so long as I go out with my bodyguard, and you're not afraid of Zack, what's his name? Neither am I.
No, everything is just fine, Vicky. There were no repercussions from our little crisis here the other night.
Oh, you are some lucky man, Mr. Dorn. You know, you're the only guy I know that can juggle 3 women at once and get away with it.
Oh, an early customer. Good evening. Do you have a reservation?
Yes, the name is Smith.
I took the reservation, Mr. Dorn. It's a table for 1.
Mr. Smith, your table will be ready in a few minutes. Why don't you have a drink for it?
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
How you feeling tonight, Zack?
Nervous as a cat. How do you think I'd be feeling?
Well, let me give you a drink. It'll settle you down. Still like that 12-year-old stuff? I mean, scotch this time.
And I haven't had enough money to even buy a warm beer since that thing blew up in our faces. You don't suppose you could lend me a few bucks, do you, Toby?
Listen, man, don't use that name again. Unless you want a scar on the other side of your face.
Sorry, I forgot. But no kidding, I'm really flat. I used the last 50 I had to get a hold of a piece.
You got it with you?
Right here. Shoulder holster. Been practicing my draw all afternoon. I got it down to 3 seconds flat.
Zack, this ain't the Wild West. Don't try to outdraw the cop. You just stay ready to shoot after I give you the signal.
Yeah, all right. Look, about that money, I really need it. I'm broke.
Look, don't worry about it. I don't have anything on me now. I just have some walking around money. After you take care of things, I'll take care of you.
You sure she's gonna be here tonight?
She'll be here. I talked to her today to make sure. She's coming with a bodyguard around 7:30.
That's the part that worries me, that bodyguard of hers.
You leave him to me. I got the answer to that little problem. Right here.
Excuse me, Mr. Smith, your table's ready.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Oh, bravo. Only 15 minutes late. A new record.
Aren't you used to having women keeping you waiting?
Well, Deborah used to keep me waiting a lot. Then she joined the police force. She got so fast, then she has to wait on me, you know?
Well, maybe I ought to join the police force and get a little discipline. Oh, which reminds me, you haven't told me a thing about Calvin.
Oh, I was saving that for good dinner conversation.
Please, no, tell me now. How's his leg?
Well, he didn't run a 4-minute mile or anything, but he could stand on his leg, put all his weight on it. It was a very good sign.
Steve, that's terrific.
Yeah, we were very happy for him. Calvin was standing there grinning from ear to ear. God, it means a lot to him to be a cop.
It meant a lot to you, too, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how long it'll take before he'll get back on active duty. Unless, of course, they let him drive a desk. Knowing him, he'll do that. He'll do anything to get back in action.
You would like to get back in action, too, wouldn't you?
Hey, listen, right now, all I want to do is go have dinner, okay?
Steve, when they catch my assassin, my life is going to be out of danger. Well, you know what that means, don't you?
Hey, look, let's not count our assassins before they're catched. Oh, hey, listen, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a stand-up comic right after this bodyguard job.
What are you going to do after this bodyguard job? You going to go back to the police?
Look, I haven't changed my mind how I feel about police work. That's what I told Chief Marceau this afternoon.
You saw the chief?
Yeah, he and I went down to the hospital to see Calvin together. Look, Paige, I want to be truthful with you. I don't want to lie. I told the chief what you told me about Zack.
And Tobias?
They go together.
No, they don't. They're different. One is trying to save my life, and the other one is trying to kill me. Let's go to dinner.
Brian, you're wrong to think about...
Listen, I'll tell you what makes this picture impractical, Eddie. It's the special effects. I just love these screenwriters who pencil in things that cost about $1 million to produce.
I don't agree with you. Look, there's nothing in this script that can't be handled with a little ingenuity.
Ingenuity costs money too, Eddie. Okay, if we can hire some genius from Hollywood, that's fine. He can probably do these tricks for you for about $500,000, then he's gonna want the other half for himself.
I'm taking my car.
You got gas?
Plenty of gas.
Hey, you two. Have a good night.
Thank you. You guys
right.
don't work too hard.
We won't.
Take care now.
Be careful. You know, nobody really told me what this picture's all about. All I heard was that it was a horror film.
Horror's right, Brian. People are gonna shriek and scream when they see the budget.
Owen, my bottom line is still under $1 million.
Well, of course it is, Eddie, because you're lumping the special effects under photography. When you know damn well that you're gonna have to break it down sooner or later, and it's gonna cost 5 times what you put down there.
Dad, you know, I don't know very much about special effects Hollywood style, but I know if you used videotape,
Brian,
it'd save
please, you just don't know what you're talking about, all right?
You're right, I don't. I only meant that, that if you used videotape, it'd be all right to transfer it to film.
Hey, this kid's pretty smart. You ought to listen to him, Owen.
Yeah, maybe we should bring Brian in on this. Make it a little family project, huh?
Why not? Why not? The Madison family presents.
Well, this family could use something to bring it together.
You know, this is not just an ordinary horror picture, Brian. Sure, we want to scare the pants off everybody, but we want to have a nice, solid drama, too.
Hey, don't let him kid you, Brian. It's a standard phrase in Lotus Land about making solid, relevant drama. What he's really talking about is making solid, relevant money.
You go right ahead, Uncle Eddie. Tell me about the rest of the picture, especially the main character now, the one Mom's gonna play.
If she can play it, and if I can afford to let her try.
She's a lady, a rich lady who comes from a very good family, who's living in this nice, gloomy, scary house around 1870. But the house happens to be in Salem, Mass. And this woman has always known that she's somehow different.
And I assume she finds out what that difference is, right?
Oh, she's a witch, of course. What else?
She finds out that her ancestor was a witch, one of the most famous in Salem, who was hanged, maybe almost 300 years ago.
Uncle Eddie, those witch hangings were the result of hysterical accusations by young girls wanting attention.
Oh, now, look, don't give me the history bit, Brian. We're talking show business here, right?
Yeah, that's right, Brian. Don't confuse him with facts.
Oh, well, the truth is there's a fact behind the story. Now, Donald Hooks, the screenwriter, found this story in an unpublished biography of the lady.
Hooks? Wait a minute, that isn't the same Donald Hooks. I mean, wasn't he killed a couple of years ago?
That's right. He was thrown off his horse, broke his neck. And the horse was considered to be one of the most gentle in the stable.
Well, you did say something about this film carrying a curse, didn't you?
Well, the only curse would be to put down money on something like this. It's just not going to work.
Eddie, I just read it again.
Darling.
Slowly, just as you said. And oh, Eddie, it's tremendous. This woman, this Hester Atherton, well, she's a fabulous character.
Mom, you look terrific. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine, Brian. I feel absolutely marvelous. My headache's all gone.
Oh, maybe Hester cast a spell.
Maybe you're right. My head felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds when I began reading the script. By the time I finished, I felt completely cured.
Hey, well, maybe that's the promotional angle, huh? We'll just sell Mansion of the Damned as a cure for headaches.
Owen, I know this picture is going to work. Oh, I realize it's full of all sorts of hokum, but it's delicious hokum. The kind everybody enjoys. Don't you think so, Brian?
Well, I haven't really read the script yet, Mom. Uncle Eddie was just telling us about it.
It's about a woman, Brian. That's what it's about. A living, breathing, unhappy, emotional, frustrated, jealous, suffering woman.
Oh, all that and a witch, too.
But every woman becomes a witch when she's deprived of everything that makes her life meaningful, don't you see?
Nola, are you saying that this picture has a message?
Of course it has, Owen. Because Hester doesn't sell her soul to the devil until after everything's been taken away from her.
Whoa. The devil is in this picture, too?
Yes, he is. Of course, nobody calls him that. He's a very wealthy merchant, and you never quite know what he does. Anyway, Hester has everything taken away from her, everything that's important to her, by this empty-headed young woman.
Aha, the eternal triangle.
Ah, you know what they say. The triangle is the devil's favorite geometric figure.
Wow, I never heard that before.
Well, that's because I just made it up.
But she has no choice, Brian. That's the whole point of the story. She can either give up and die, or she can fight and win.
Yeah, but she only wins by selling her soul. Is that the message?
No, darling. The message is be fair. Be fair to this woman, to any woman, or you'll deserve her vengeance. It's really kind of a women's liberation story, isn't it? Oh, and that ending, that incredible ending, when she tricks the devil himself.
Oh, sure, why not? He's a man too, isn't he?
Have you been figuring out the costs? Is that what this is all about?
Yes, darling, we've been looking at the cost. I just want you to remember what I told you, that I cannot make up my mind about this project until I'm sure that it's feasible, from the money standpoint.
Yes, I understand. But there are some things that are more important than money, aren't there, Owen?
Yes. We were just saying that this could be a whole family project, Nola. With Owen producing and directing, you being the star, Brian working behind the camera.
Brian? Yes. Yes, why not? And Paige. Paige is the young cousin, Owen. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? And wouldn't that be something you've always wanted?
That was a vodka martini, Mickey, not gin.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Dorn.
Mickey, this is the second drink we've had to go over in the last 15 minutes. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. It's just one of those nights, you know. I understand Miss Madison might be coming in tonight.
Miss Madison? Oh, you mean that lady who came here last night to pick up her inebriated mother?
She called, didn't she, to make a reservation? Said something about being here soon?
Not to my knowledge. Oh, wait a minute. There was this young lady who called, made a reservation in the name of Wilson. She sounded a bit like Miss Madison. Maybe it was the name of her escort.
Yeah, well, I guess she wouldn't use her right name with all the trouble she's had and everything.
Yeah, that's true enough.
And the escort, that would be Steve Guthrie.
Steve Guthrie. So that's why you're so tense this evening. You don't relish the idea of seeing him enjoying himself here?
I don't relish the idea of seeing him enjoy himself anywhere. Unicorn. Can I ask who's calling, please? One moment. Mr. Dorn. It's for you, but I didn't say you were here.
Who is it?
Mrs. Swift.
I'll take it.
And I will deliver the drink with my apologies.
Okay.
Oh. And how are things at the Unicorn tonight?
Quite as exciting as last night, I'm pleased to say.
Well, that's what you get for keeping too many women on a string, my dear. You know, about this Sarah, was she really your maid?
Listen, I can assure you, my precious, it was only a very casual thing. Just a little diversion, you know, between vacuum cleaning and so forth. Anyway, I met her a long time ago before I met you.
I see.
And it all finished a long, long time ago.
I see. Well, I just hope that Mrs. Dorn never found out what was going on right under her nose, because she would have vacuum cleaned you right out of her house.
Listen, Raven, I hope you were not too upset about what happened last night.
Oh, me? Listen, there's nothing I like better than a little excitement.
Oh, yeah, so I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, there is something I like better than a little excitement. That's a lot of excitement. We really have to see more of each other.
I know, but unfortunately, it's getting to be not easy for either one of us.
Listen, in a week, it's going to be very easy for me.
What do you mean?
My husband is going out of town on a statewide campaign tour.
Really?
Mm-hmm. 15 cities in 5 days. But, of course, his dutiful wife is going with him.
She is?
Of course. I mean, how would it look if a candidate went without his wife by his side? Of course, the baby can't go. 7-month-old baby can't travel, but...
Listen, maybe I didn't hear you well enough, Raven, but what is so good about this good news?
Oh, didn't I tell you? I have a terrible cold.
Yes, you do sound awful, Raven. I mean, you should take better care of yourself, really.
Well, look, the cold hasn't really developed yet. I mean, I don't want it to develop too soon because my husband might decide to cancel the tour. But it is going to be really terrible, and he's going to have to go all by himself.
Well, that sounds very nice, Raven. But the fact that you're as free as a bird doesn't mean that I'm equally available at the same time.
Listen, you better be. Because I've been going through an awful lot of trouble just to set this whole thing up. So if you don't come through...
Listen, baby. Let me call you back. I've got some customers coming in. Okay? I'll call you back. Bye. Good evening, Miss Madison.
Oh, hello, Mr. Dorn. And before you get the chance to ask, my stepmother is fine, thank you. Just fine.
I'm glad to hear that. Mr. Guthrie, how are you tonight?
I'm just fine, Eliot. Listen, we have a reservation under the name of Wilson.
That's right. Follow me. Well, can I get you anything from the bar while you're waiting?
Yes, I'd like an old-fashioned.
Give me something in a bottle like ginger ale.
Right.
Why are you so antagonistic toward Mickey?
Wait a minute. He's the one who's antagonistic towards me. The guy'll never let me forget that I killed his brother.
You know, I was in here the other day when we came to pick up Nola, and I spoke to him. He seemed like a kind of nice fellow.
Well, that's not my impression. But then, I don't know the guy, huh?
Old-fashioned, one ginger ale.
I want to thank you again, Mr. Dorn. You were very thoughtful the other evening.
Oh, that was nothing, Miss Madison. I just saw your mother needed help.
My stepmother. But that doesn't matter. She's very grateful, and she wanted me to say so.
She was a celebrated movie star, wasn't she? Famous Nola Patterson.
I'm not sure that she thinks of herself in the past tense.
Oh, I didn't mean to imply that. I just assumed she'd retired.
Oh, she doesn't assume any such thing. She usually tells people that she's between jobs.
I see.
And she thought that you would make a perfect movie type. She thought you'd make a wonderful matinee idol.
Oh, very kind.
But I think that today's leading men are much more ordinary looking.
Oh, that's wonderful. That'd give me a shot, wouldn't it?
Have you ever acted professionally, Mr. Dorn?
No, Miss Madison, not on a stage. Although there was a time when I was some sort of an actor.
I remember that. When you were running the Children of the Earth thing, right?
The what?
Oh, never mind, I'm sure. Well, it was a long story. I'm sure Mr. Dorn would like to put that way behind him.
Yeah, Mr. Guthrie, you're quite right. Well, I'll have to attend to my present business. Enjoy your evening. I'll send a waitress over with the menu. Good night.
Right, thank you. We haven't drunk a toast yet.
That's right. Well, what shall it be to?
How about, Calvin's leg?
Oh, that's nice. Here is to Calvin's leg.
It's not bad, is it? Eliot!
Look out!
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find, always on our mind. In frustrated days pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half light, as we watch our hearts trying to hold the tenderness that we once had, halfway glad and halfway sad.
You know, my stepmother thinks you'd make perfect movie material, Mr. Dorn. A wonderful matinee idol.
How very kind.
I don't know if I agree with her. I think leading men today are much more ordinary looking.
Oh, hey, that's terrific. Looks like I get a shot at it.
Have you ever acted professionally?
No, Miss Madison, not on a stage. Although there was a time when I was sort of an actor.
Hey, I remember that. That's when you were running the Children of the Earth thing, wasn't it? Oh, but that's a long story. I'm sure Mr. Dorn would like to put that way behind it.
Yeah, that's quite right. Well, I'll attend to my present business and hope you enjoy the evening. I'll send a waitress over with the menu.
Thank you. Well, we haven't drunk a toast yet.
Oh, that's right. What shall we drink to?
How about, Calvin's leg?
Yeah, that's nice. Here's to Calvin's leg.
Eliot!
Look out!
Just relax. Just be calm. Everybody relax. Get out of our way. Just be calm. Just be calm.
He's dead. Nice shooting, Mickey.
I just pointed the gun and fired it.
You saved our lives.
I didn't really think about what I was doing, miss. I saw this guy going for a gun, so I reached for mine.
Eliot, can I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead. Miss Madison, are you all right?
I'm all right, but I'm scared as hell. God.
Thank God we saw this madman in time.
Steve and I were sitting here drinking a toast, and then he pulled me to the floor, and then...
That was pretty quick thinking, Mickey.
This is Steve Guthrie. Yes, I meant the unicorn. No, everybody's all right. Uh-huh. As quickly as possible, thank you.
Oh, and you don't know what this means to me. To hear you say what you did. It's almost like hearing you say, I love you.
But I do love you, Nola. You're my wife.
But do you really mean it? You are going to make this movie.
Well, we'll go into production. That's as much as I can promise, but I can't swear that we're ever going to finish it. Well, you heard what Eddie said about the curse on this movie.
Oh, I don't believe that. Do you? I think Eddie just made the whole thing up. to make it sound more dramatic. It's just like him.
Well, he didn't make up the fact that both leading ladies died during the production.
Well, I doubt very much that that was the ghost of Hester Atherton that made that happen. Poor Susan had a heart problem for years. And as for Myrna Davenport, well, it wasn't a witch that killed her, darling. It was pure alcohol. Owen, is that why you've been so hesitant about this?
The curse?
No, my particular curse, alcohol. Did you think I'd let that interfere with the shooting?
It occurred to me, yes.
God knows you've had enough trouble with drunken leading ladies and men. But I swear to you, Owen, I won't touch one drop when we do this. I mean it, not a drop.
It's the same old promise, Nola, just a different reason this time.
No, I swear a different promise. One that I'll keep. Oh, you know the main reason I drank. Because it killed my worst enemy, time.
Darling, I know that you need to work. God knows I do.
Yes, it's true, darling. You've spent so much time just worrying about your miserable family. Brian running away from home, Paige and her terrible friends, and me, of course. I've been your worst problem.
Well, doubt if we'll solve all our problems with this family project.
But look how much fun it's going to be. All of us working together.
Well, I don't know if that's going to be possible. I mean, I don't know whether Paige is going to want to make her acting debut in Mansion of the Damned.
Oh, but you've always wanted her to have a film career.
Oh, I wanted her to be happy. And one time I thought that was the way to do it. Well, things happen, as you very well know.
Well, I think it'll change her completely. Take her mind off all these ridiculous causes and silly crushes. Owen, it's a turning point for us. It's a kind of a miracle, I think. If Hester Atherton was a witch, I think she's a very good one.
You really believe it, Uncle Eddie? You believe that this movie is going to do this family some good?
Brian, when are you going to start calling me just plain Eddie? I mean, I feel old enough as it is. But when some ex-admiral keeps calling me uncle...
I didn't quite make admiral in the Navy.
Brian, I'm not saying that this movie is going to be the cure for everything and everybody, but... Well, if it puts your dad back to work and gets your mother out of her sick bed, who can it hurt?
It could hurt both of them, Eddie. What if the movie flopped?
Oh, Brian, movies flop all the time. The world doesn't come to an end.
Well, my mother's world could. Eddie, it's been 15 years since my mother set foot in front of a camera. She may expect to see the old Nola Patterson up there on that screen, but she sure won't.
That is what you think. She's going to see what she wants to see. And in my unhumble opinion, she's going to give a performance that a lot of people are going to want to see.
Yeah. What if she doesn't? What if she can't make it work? What do you think that'll do to her?
What the hell do you want, kid? You want a gold-plated guarantee? You want a life without risks, without any chances? No wonder you didn't make Admiral. Say, can I help myself to the booze?
Sure. Make yourself at home. You're practically a member of the household anyway. At least that's what Dad keeps on saying.
Thanks.
Matter of fact, you almost were a member of this family, weren't you?
What do you mean?
I mean, I might just be calling you Dad instead of Uncle, Eddie.
Now, whoever gave you an idea like that?
Oh, you know kids always hear more than they're supposed to. And the one thing I remember hearing when I was, about 11 or 12, was the fact that you were supposed to be in love with my mother.
Oh, come on now. Who wasn't in love with Nola Patterson in those days? You know, she used to get 2,000 to 3,000 letters a week. She used to get 40 or 50 proposals of marriage every month.
Did she ever get one from you?
Brian, I was always crazy about your mom. But Owen is the lucky stiff who got her, and okay, fine, because I like him too. But I still think enough of your old lady to want to see her back on her feet again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
Then help me, will you, kid? You love her too, right? Help me make this damn thing work.
It's just going to be insane. Oh, thank you. We have 15 towns in 5 days. We're not going to have time to pack or unpack.
Now, that is a wild schedule. What do you do, Logan? Do you make the same speech in every city?
Yeah, about the same. I have to remember the name of the place, though, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, can't tell you what a pleasure it is being back in good old Chicken Falls.
Chicken Falls?
My campaign's manager says we regionalize the speech after the opening.
Oh, and how exactly do you regionalize it?
Well, if we're in some suburb where the crime rate is zilch, I can't really scream at them about putting all their crooks behind bars.
Well, then what the hell do you say?
Oh, something like, well, folks, you've got a nice, peaceful little community here in,
the Chicken Falls.
Chicken Falls, right? Now, you don't want a lot of hoodlums coming up from Monticello and ravishing your banks and robbing your women, do you? Now, if you don't want the Monticello bad guys up here, you know what you got to do. You got to elect a strong district attorney. You're going to put them someplace where they can't do the God-fearing people of Chicken Falls any harm.
That's a wonderful speech, and I will vote for you in a second.
By the way, what are you going to do with Jamie while you're away? Is that lady, what's her name, Mrs.
Mrs. Harris. She said she'd take him for 3 days.
Well, what are you going to do with the other two?
Well, I hope she'll take him the other 2, but if she doesn't, I guess she may just have to take him to her place, and God knows what that's like.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about that idea myself, leaving him alone. A strange house.
Well, too bad you're doing most of your traveling during the week. I'd love to have him for a couple of days, you know, over the weekend or something.
You know, it's really a shame you can't take some time off. Draper says you've been working awfully hard.
Well, Margot's been after her to take some time off. To stop her from working those 16-hour days.
Whoa, look who's talking. Draper has worked later than me, later than I, almost every night this whole week.
Well, I still wish we could take him on the campaign tour. Then I wouldn't have to make any speeches at all. Just hold him up, show him to the audience, and say, any man with a child like this deserves your vote, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Don't be silly.
Hey, look, is there any chance you could take him, Logan?
No, there's not a chance. It's going to be bad enough with all the traveling. Can you imagine packing 500 diapers?
Yeah, it does sound a little impractical. Maybe the other idea isn't so bad, though, huh?
What idea?
Well, taking a couple of days off.
Are you serious? Would you really consider taking him?
Well, you said that Mrs. Harris can take him for 3 days, right? And,
Yeah.
well, there is a holiday coming up, so I have some time coming to me. What do you think, Draper?
That would be terrific. Do you hear that?
Well, it would sure be great as far as I'm concerned. The thing that's been worrying me the most about this campaign tour is whether or not I can trust Mrs. Harris.
Well, look,
with it.
I do have to talk to Margot first.
Well, I don't think Margot's going to give you a hard time, but I think what she had in mind was vacation.
Oh, well, now, listen, we don't want to foul up any vacation plans, you guys.
Oh, wishful thinking. Draper's idea of a vacation these days is not working on Sunday. You think I've been eager about work? Should check out my husband here.
Yeah, he told me he's got to make his fortune now so he can pay his fuel bills this winter.
Yeah, they're going to be something, too. I hope our apartment is warm this winter. I catch cold so easy. As a matter of fact, you know, I think I'm getting one right now.
Yeah, you didn't tell me about that.
Yeah. Do you have a tissue?
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm sorry. Right up there.
Oh, thanks.
Cookie? I'm enjoying it.
You know, Logan, you are going to win this election, I know it, because the man that is running against you is so unattractive.
It's not a beauty contest, Raven.
Well, I know, but you're going to win anyway.
Well, I think you can count on 4 votes here anyway.
Well, you'd have 5 if Jamie could vote, but he seems to be getting a little sleepy. You think maybe we could bring him upstairs?
Yeah. I guess it is time to put him to bed. I told Logan he would just be in the way if he were up.
Well, no, not at all. I love having him, but it is getting late. Must be past your bedtime.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Come on, time to go to bed.
He's heavy.
Have a little adult conversation around here. It's the trouble with having a kid. They always get all the attention.
Oh.
I get you, Bottle.
Did you talk to Raven yet about, adopting Jamie legally?
No, I haven't had a chance. I hadn't seen her since I talked to you at lunch today. I came right here, met her here.
Might be a good time to bring it up. I mean, I don't have the papers with me, but you could get the ball rolling.
Sure.
Is something wrong?
No.
There's not going to be any objection, is there? I mean, considering the fact that you are Jamie's legal father. I mean, natural father.
I don't know why she would object, like you say. It's just a formality.
Right.
All right. You got me. I'm thinking about something else. Something that happened today at the restaurant after you left.
I know. You forgot your money and couldn't pay the bill.
Don't I wish. No, this woman came over and sat down at the table. I'd never seen her before. She had an accent, English, I think.
What'd she want?
She wanted to tell me something. Didn't stay long, just a minute or two, just long enough to tell me to keep an eye on my wife.
What?
That was all. No details, no accusations, just keep an eye on Raven. Said she was doing things that I would not like. The implication was very clear.
It's a crank, Logan. You're DA. I mean, you deal with these people all the time, every hour on the hour.
Oh, yeah. I deal with cranks every day at the office. Not very often in restaurants.
Just don't waste any time thinking about it, all right?
Yes, April was right. Fell asleep the minute he hit the bed. Drat. Why the silence? Talking about me, weren't you? You stopped the minute I came in the room.
No, as a matter of fact, we were talking about Jamie.
See, I told you. You're lucky you don't have a kid. They get all the attention.
Oh, come on, Raven. I wouldn't mind. If I had a baby as cute as Jamie, I'd lavish all my attention on him.
We were discussing some legal problems that concern Jamie.
Legal? What's legal about a 7-month-old baby?
Well, Logan and I were talking about Jamie's legal status. It's not as clear as it could be.
Lawyers. Aren't they awful?
Well, they're not all so bad.
Jamie has only one legal parent. That's you, Raven. Logan thought it would be a good idea if he had a full set.
I don't understand what all this is about.
Well, I think it would be a good idea if I adopted Jamie. Make sure that he has all his legal rights.
Well, what kind of legal rights are you talking about?
Want him to be able to inherit my vast fortune if I'm run over by a truck,
Gotcha.
stuff like that. It's just a formality. It's the kind of stuff that a lawyer would be concerned about. It's okay with you, isn't it?
Sure. Why shouldn't it be?
Mansion of the Damned.
Hey, you're home early.
Oh, Brian. You wouldn't believe what happened.
Steve, what?
Oh, God.
God, it happened all over again, didn't it? Somebody else tried to kill her, right?
Oh, you predicted it, Brian. I hope that makes you satisfied.
Damn it, Steve. Why do you take all these chances with her?
Oh, Brian, no. I was the one who wanted to go out. I practically insisted Steve take me. But I'm glad. I am so very glad.
How can you be glad about almost getting yourself killed,
Well,
Paige?
I'm all right. I'm fine. And he's dead.
Who?
He isn't gonna hurt me anymore. Nobody is ever gonna hurt me anymore.
All right, Paige, it's all right. I want you to calm down and take it easy. Just take it easy. Sit down, and I want you to tell me what happened now.
Brian, we were in the restaurant.
Let me put it to you this way. We went to the Unicorn. A guy named Zack, I guess he must have followed us over there. He pulls a gun and tries to kill your sister.
Steve pulled me under the table. I don't know how many times we're gonna have to say thank you to you.
You're gonna have to say thank you to the bartender, Mickey Dials.
It was incredible, Brian. If it hadn't been for that The bartender.
It's okay, Paige. It's all right. Now, what is all this about it being the last time? How do you know that?
Paige seems to think that it's over.
I know it is. I'm sure of it. I found out from a very, very reliable source.
Tobias. Tobias got in touch with her. He warned her about Zack. Said that he was the last assassin. Well, I guess he was right. Zack's dead. Are you all right?
Fine.
Okay. I have to get back to the Unicorn. There are cops all over the place. They'll probably want to ask me some questions. I just wanted to make sure your sister was home safe and sound.
I'm safe. I've never been so safe in the last 3 months. I don't know.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Steve. Paige, is this for sure? I mean, is it really true? Is your friend Tobias really telling the truth?
Yes. I know it is. I know it's as true as I know anything. As well as I know that I love you. With all my heart.
Brian!
Oh, Daddy, it's over. It's all over and I'm free. Do you know how wonderful it is to say that I'm really free?
I hope so, Paige. I really do.
It's true. You can believe it. Everybody in Tobias's gang is either dead or running from the police in South America.
Well, I'm very happy for you if that's really so.
It is. Ask Steve. He'll tell you it's the truth.
All right. I'll talk to him right now. I don't think you're in any shape to discuss anything.
But look, he's at the Unicorn answering some questions from the police. But when he comes back,
Fine. Okay, all right. That's all right. Now, we're in no rush now. I just think it's a good idea for you to go upstairs and lie down, all right?
Okay. I should lie down.
Oh.
I really think that this is a new start for me. I think it could be a new life for all of us.
We could all use one, honey. Now, go on. Go on, sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night-night.
Well, why don't you say it?
Do I have to say it? You know what you were doing was wrong, Brian.
I wasn't doing anything, Dad. Paige was just telling me what happened.
She was doing more than that, Brian. A lot more. And you were just sitting there, letting her believe that you felt the same way.
You don't have any idea how I feel.
Oh, yes, I do. I've seen your feelings, Brian. I've seen them in your eyes when you look at her. I've seen them every time you touch her. Well, it's got to stop, Brian. The look in your eyes and the touching, it's got to stop right now. Now, is that clear?
Excuse me, I think I'll go upstairs.
Brian, did you forget? I know it's been 3 years since I told you, but did you forget what I said?
How could I have forgotten?
Well, it seems to me that you have from what went on the sofa. Well, maybe I better remind you, Brian. Paige is your sister. She's not your stepsister. She's your flesh and blood sister. Now, for God's sake, Brian, remember that.
Well, why don't you say it?
Do I have to say it? You know what you were doing was wrong.
I wasn't doing anything. Paige was just telling me what happened.
She was telling you more than that. A lot more. And you just sat there and let her believe that you felt the same way.
You don't have any idea how I feel, Dad.
Oh, yes, I do. I've seen your feelings, Brian. I've seen them in your eyes every time you look at her. I've seen them every time you touch her. Well, it's got to stop, the look in your eyes and the touching. It's got to stop right now. Is that clear?
Excuse me, I think I'll go upstairs.
Did you forget what I said? I know it's been 3 years, Brian. Did you Did you actually forget what I said?
How could I?
Well, from what I just saw in this room, you must have. So let me remind you again. Paige is your sister, Brian. Not your stepsister, but your flesh and blood sister. Now, for God's sake, Brian, remember that.
Dad, I haven't forgotten that, not for a minute. In fact, I haven't stopped thinking about it since you first told me.
Do you think I have? I didn't want to tell you, I could see that things were getting out of hand. The way that you two kissed at Paige's 18th birthday party. I could see that there were feelings that just shouldn't have been there.
Well, whose fault was that? You and Mom are the ones that brought us together.
Well, of course we brought you together. It never occurred to either of us that stepchildren would fall in love. That's why we felt that you should know, Brian, that I was the father to you both. The real dad.
And just what would the real dad like me to do now? Don't bother answering, I already know. The real dad would like nothing better than for me to leave this house too, right?
Brian, I never wanted you to leave 3 years ago. That isn't why I told you the truth, to drive you away.
You really think I had any choice?
Yes, you had a choice. And the best one would have been to stay here and to face the reality of the situation.
Just the way you and Mom faced it?
All right, Brian. I know that we're more at fault than you are. I told you that 3 years ago. The mistakes that were made were ours, and unfortunately, we compounded them by not telling you the truth before you were both growing up.
Oh, let's face it, Dad, you would never have told me the truth. It was only because you were worried that Paige and I would have eloped or something, and no doubt produced idiot children.
Stop that. I don't want to hear that kind of talk.
Dad, I remember every word of what you said 3 years ago. I've had plenty of time to remember them. You'd be surprised how much time a sailor has to do nothing but remember things.
All right. Maybe I didn't handle it very well. Maybe if I'd been more tactful, you wouldn't have run off. And broken your mother's heart.
I did your heart some good, though, didn't I?
No, of course not.
Oh, don't
Brian.
kid me, Dad. You probably breathed a big sigh of relief when you came home that night and Mom told you I was gone, because that meant your problem was gone, too, right?
Brian, you are wrong. That is not the solution I wanted. I just wanted you to discourage the crush that Paige had on you.
Didn't it ever occur to you that I just might have been very much in love with her, too?
Yes, it occurred to me.
Well, don't worry about it. I don't feel that way anymore.
Don't you?
I can't feel that way, Dad. Don't you think I know that? I'm not allowed to feel anything for Paige but brotherly love.
Brian, look, I know it isn't easy. I know that emotions aren't like faucets. You just can't turn them on and off at will. Look, maybe I just didn't make this clear before. Let me do it now. What happened in this family wasn't your fault, Brian. None of it, or Paige's. Nola and I are completely to blame for the thoughtlessness, the ruthlessness, whatever you want to call it. But whether you believe it or not, we were very much in love, too. And that's why you were born. Long before Nola and I became husband and wife. You see, and that's why it was such a natural thing to do, to bring our family together under one roof.
The mansion of the damned.
Oh, don't say that, Brian. Well, we were happy once. We were close.
Closer than we thought.
Well, Brian, you were just kids, you and Paige. We never stopped to think that either of you grow up to think of each other as anything but brother and sister.
We always knew that we weren't.
All right, so now you know different.
Yes, I know. Paige still doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
Never thought of telling Paige, did you, Dad?
Do you want me to tell her, Brian?
That's not my choice to make.
Brian, I just didn't think she could handle a situation as well as you could.
But why? Because I'm the man?
Because you're older. Because I thought you could understand these things better, without too much rancor.
You mean without running away from it, right?
Yes, I never thought you'd do that. And neither did Nola.
And is that why you never told Paige, Dad? Because you were afraid she might do the same thing? Pack a bag and leave the family mansion in the middle of the night? Oh, you'd really hate that, wouldn't you, Dad? To lose your little girl just for the sake of the truth.
Yes?
Paige, are you asleep?
Oh, no. No, Nola, come on in. I was just lying here resting, but I can't do that much longer because I'm just too excited.
I heard the wonderful news. Is it really true? Are you really out of danger at last?
Well, I'm sure of it. At last, I am finally sure that nobody is going to try to take my life again. Unless, of course, I make some new enemies. I seem to have a real knack for it.
Well, if it's really true, I'm so very happy for you, my dear. You've no idea how much I suffered with you and worried about you. It's been such a terrifying experience. How wonderful to feel that it's all over and done with.
I feel so free that I think I should have wings. That I could fly over this roof and then swoop down to the garden and pick flowers from midair. I sound like Peter Pan. Do you remember that school play?
Yes, of course. You were absolutely wonderful in it, Paige.
I hated that short haircut. I remember hiding from Brian so that he wouldn't see me with it.
Oh, Brian was absolutely enchanted with you when he saw it. Oh, I remember it as if it were yesterday. He told me what a marvelous actress he thought you were. In fact, I was quite annoyed with my little boy. He'd go to the movies and never say one word about what a good actress his mother might be.
Well, Nola, he never associated you with that woman on the screen, but I was on stage, in the flesh.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you would have been wonderful in pictures, too, if you hadn't been a little less stubborn about accepting your father's help.
Stubbornness had nothing to do with it. It was just common sense. What would I do in front of a camera? I was much too inexperienced.
Well, there's only one way to get experience, isn't there? And here's one way.
What's this?
It's Mansion of the Damned. Have you read it yet?
No, not really.
Well, I have thoroughly. And every time I read it, I'm absolutely convinced that Patience is you.
Patience?
Uh-huh. Hester Atherton's young cousin, the beautiful, vivacious, charming Patience Revere. The one who steals Hester's fiancé right out from under her nose.
Nola, are you serious about me being in this movie?
Well, just think how much fun it would be, all of us working together. All of us. You, me, your father, Brian.
Brian? I haven't heard Brian say a word. Are you sure he wants to be involved with this project?
He would be, Paige. He'd love to be. And I'm sure the station would be glad to give him a month's leave of absence. If necessary, I could talk to Mrs. Dawn again. I mean, I'm sure there wouldn't be any trouble there. And he'd enjoy it so much. Imagine working as an associate producer or behind the camera.
But he hasn't said a word about it, Nola, not to me.
Well, he said something to me. He said the only thing that would make him really interested in this movie is if you were a part of it.
Brian, the last thing in the world that I want is to be the cause of your leaving home. So just put that idea out of your head.
And why is that, Dad? Because you miss me so much?
Yes, that's part of it. Your mother's health is the other part.
Oh, yes. She's really gotten a whole lot better since I've been home, hasn't she? No more hitting the bottle?
Your mother's drinking problem won't be solved by your presence or your absence, Brian. It's gotten way beyond that.
What do you think would solve it, Dad?
Frankly, I don't know.
How about your presence?
I'm here, aren't I?
Are you? I mean, as far as my mother's concerned. Are you really with her, Dad?
Maybe this movie is the answer. Maybe Eddie's right. All it's going to take is the chance to get back to work.
Maybe.
When I told her that I would produce it, she swore to me that she wouldn't let anything interfere. Particularly that.
You think she meant it?
She always means it when she says it.
Owen!
Darling!
Owen, some wonderful news.
You've got a new investor for the film? Terrific.
Well, it's almost that. I think I've improved the movie's chances.
Yeah?
I talked to Paige, and she is interested in playing
Oh,
Patience.
sorry.
That's a card game, isn't it?
No, silly. It's a part, a very important part in Mansion of the Damned. I wish you'd read it, Brian.
I have read it, Mom.
Well, don't you think she's perfect for it?
Well, yeah, I think she's right for it. The only thing is that this Patience character, she goes through a hell of a lot of nightmarish situations. And considering what Paige has been through,
Oh, come on, Brian. It's just a movie, not real life.
Yes, but don't you think it'd be absolutely marvelous for her? To give her a whole new interest in life, get her mind off politics and revolutions and things like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be terrific.
There's only one thing. Paige won't play the part unless she knows that you're going to be involved, too.
Well, Mom, I really can't make that promise. I have a job, remember? WMON?
Oh, that won't be any problem, I'm sure of it. Oh, Brian, please say you will. It means so much to all of us, especially your sister. But it means so much to me, too, to know that my family, my whole family, was working together.
Well, Mom, I suppose it's really up to Dad. I mean, he is the producer.
It's fine with me, if you're staying.
Staying? What do you mean by that?
Oh, nothing. No, I just meant I was thinking what Brian said about a month ago, that he would just stay until Paige was out of danger.
Are you both sure that she is out of danger? I'm not. And I won't be. Not until this Tobias is finally caught.
So you had no suspicions about this man, Zack Smith, before he came into the restaurant?
No, sir, none at all. As far as I was concerned, he was just another customer. Table for one.
I understand you took the reservation yourself.
That's right.
You don't get many tables for one at the Unicorn, do you?
No, not many, but there's nothing unusual about it.
Was there anything unusual about him when he finally got here?
Well, the only time I noticed there was something strange about the guys when he pulled out that pistol.
That call was from Mr. Guthrie. He took Miss Madison home and said he'd be back as soon as possible.
Good. I'd like to hear some answers from him, too.
As far as I'm concerned, Chief Marceau, Mr. Guthrie has a lot to be grateful for to my bartender here.
So I understand.
I just did what I had to do, Chief. But I guess if I hadn't, your friend Guthrie would be about as dead as my kid brother is now.
I'm sure that Steve appreciates what you did, Mr. Dials. But I'm not sure that he couldn't have handled the situation without outside help.
You think so, huh?
Chief, I really think that my friend Mickey deserves a medal for what he did. And considering the damage done to my club, I think maybe I merit some compensation from the city.
Mr. Dorn, suppose you tell me in your own words exactly what happened.
Okay, Chief, I can tell you what I saw. I was standing there talking to a waitress when she saw a man take out a gun. I shouted something like, watch out. And that was when Mickey took a gun from under the bar and opened fire. That's all I can tell you. It just happened so fast.
What about this gun that you keep under the bar?
Oh, I got a permit for it, Chief, if you're worried about that.
Why do you need it?
Oh, you know how it is. I mean, any place that sells liquor gets trouble. People get drunk, they do stupid things sometimes.
And there's always the possibility of a holdup, Chief.
So you keep it for protection, is that right?
That's right. And I'm very glad he does.
Yes, you probably saved an innocent person from being killed.
Well, I don't want any medals. Just some peace and quiet.
Eliot? Oh.
Oh, you're all right? Oh, I was so worried about you.
Don't worry. We're just having some target practice at the Unicorn. Everything is okay.
I was afraid something had happened to you.
Are you shaking like a leaf? Excuse us, please. Come into my office. Don't worry.
Mr. Downs, you won't mind making a formal statement to the police about this business?
What for?
Well, you killed a man. And no matter what the motivation, the killing has to be investigated.
Are you kidding? I just stopped some guy from killing 2 people. One of them a cop.
Ex-cop.
You're worrying far more than necessary, Margot. There was no damage done to the club, just one tiny little bullet hole.
I'm not worried about a club, silly. I was worried about you.
Me? Who would want to shoot me?
Well, it's just I heard about the shooting and all these visions were going through my head. Oh, darling, it would just be so awful if anything happened to you.
Oh, don't worry. The worst thing that's happened is that we're going to get some bad publicity from what happened.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, people are going to begin to think that this is some kind of a gangster hideout, and they'll be afraid to eat here for fear they get shot.
Yeah, fortunately, people have short memories, huh?
You know what, darling? Maybe you should close the club up for a few days. I mean, just to let the memories fade.
Close down, but that's just exactly what we shouldn't do. I mean, the damage can be repaired overnight. You know, that may not be such a bad idea after all.
Oh, darling, I think it is a good idea. Give people a couple of days to forget all this.
Yeah, I think a week would be sufficient. You know, we could turn this into a mini vacation.
Oh, I wish I could, but I'm afraid I can't close up the studio for a week, not with the fall season coming.
All we need is a few days together. You know, I was hoping to get in some fishing this summer.
No. Darling, this would be the perfect opportunity.
You mean you could really go?
No, I'm afraid I couldn't go. I'm not the fishing type anyway, but it'd be good for you. Get a few days outdoors.
Yes, it would be the perfect opportunity.
Now, I have to get back to reality. I better call the studio and tell them where I am. What's happening?
I just heard some very interesting news from my husband. He's going on a speaking tour for 5 days. And I'm coming down with a terrible cold. So you better be available, darling, because I'm going through an awful lot of trouble to arrange all this.
Looks like you're almost
Steve?
finished here, Chief.
Yeah, we had the body taken to the morgue. We'll run a check on the victim, but I don't think there's any question but what he's a member of Tobias' gang.
Yeah, well, if Paige is right, this is the last of Tobias's gang.
You agree with that?
I've got to. She got her information from the horse's mouth. I mean, at first I thought maybe Tobias was trying to lull her into a false sense of security, but that just wouldn't make sense.
Why not?
Paige has a lot of faith in Tobias. Now, if he wanted her dead, he could have done it a long time ago. Besides, he warned her about Zack. A warning that has been justified. Looks like I'm out of a job.
So where do you go from here?
Guess I'll find a new one.
You know, it just so happens that I know where one is available. There's a police department in this town that is short a couple of experienced officers. Think you'd be interested in applying?
No thanks, Chief. Even if Paige's problems are over, mine aren't. I'm still the guy who shot a 14-year-old kid who was carrying a toy gun.
I tell you something, Steve. It seems to me that you got more action as a bodyguard than you ever did while you were on the police force. That has to be a very rough kind of business.
Well, not if you have a client like Paige Madison. Well, she's home free.
Good.
She's a sweet kid.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, there still is one more thing I have to do. I'll take that gun now, Downs.
What, my gun?
That's right.
What for?
You'll get it back within 24 hours. Whenever a gun has been used in the commission of a crime, it has to be appropriated by the police.
I didn't commit any crime. The other guy did.
I'm aware of that. I still need the gun.
Sure hate to be without this, but here you go.
It's a 32, isn't it?
I don't know nothing about guns.
Can I have a look at it, Chief?
Sure.
Hey, what is this? You're not a cop anymore, Guthrie.
You don't mind, do you, Mickey?
Something wrong with it, Mr. Guthrie?
No, nothing's wrong. something very, very familiar about it.
Have you, given any thought to what you'll do now, Steve?
No, not really. I didn't know till last night I was going to be handing in my resignation.
It is customary to give 2 weeks' notice before leaving a job.
That is so you can give your employer an opportunity to find a replacement.
Which, in this case, is unnecessary.
Well, now that there's no threat to Paige's life anymore, she doesn't need a bodyguard.
Well, I'm gonna miss you, Steve. We made quite an act together. Paige Madison and her shadow.
Well, I can't say that I'm sorry to be leaving now that you're alive and well, and it looks like you're going to stay that way.
You know, Steve, I haven't seen any signed affidavits attesting to Paige's safety.
Brian, it's over.
Paige, I do not understand how you can be so sure.
Well, I am. Zack is the last member of Tobias's gang that is trying to kill me. I know he is.
I'd like to know how Zack knew we were going to the Unicorn last night.
He probably had our phone tapped.
Well, more than likely, he just followed us there.
It's very lucky that that bartender kept a gun behind the bar. He knew how to use it, too.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting that Mickey kept the gun behind the bar.
Interesting?
Steve, look, as long as you are at loose ends about your next job, why don't you consider staying on here?
And do what? Your father paid me very generously. I don't think I could take his money and stand around here and do nothing.
Maybe there's something you can do.
What?
Well, regardless of what Miss Madison here says, this Tobias character is still out there.
Brian Madison, you are a skeptic and a pessimist, and I'm going to answer the phone. Madison, residence.
I'd like to speak to Miss Madison, please.
Who is this?
The bartender from the Unicorn.
Oh, hello.
Hi. You had a rough night. How you feeling?
I couldn't be better.
Yeah, I sure like to see for myself. I'd like to see you, Paige. Today.
Yes, I know where that is. I'll see you in a little while.
Paige, who will you see in a little while?
Oh, Mrs. Porter at Bennett's department store.
Now, who's she?
A seamstress at the store. You remember a couple of weeks ago we went there to pick out some clothes?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, they've done the alterations and they want me to come down for a fitting.
Why don't they just send the stuff over?
Because I don't want them to. I mean, if the alterations aren't right, then they'll have to send it back and I won't see the clothes till the snow's on the ground.
All right, now get the car.
No, you'll do no such thing. You're not my bodyguard anymore.
Look, I'm still your friend. Besides, I've got nothing else to do today.
Well, that's okay, Steve, but I'm going by myself.
Well, Paige, I'll go with you, but I've got to be at the studio in an hour.
No, Brian. Look, I'm going to have to start venturing out of this house sans bodyguard. There's no time like the present.
Paige, will you please do me a favor and let Steve go with you?
No. I appreciate your concern, Brian, but I am not in danger. Okay? You have a good day. I'll see you tonight.
Steve, how are you at following people?
I don't think it's a very good idea. She found out it would make her very upset.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, Mrs. Madison.
Hi.
Good morning, Mom.
Where's Owen?
Oh, he and Eddie had a meeting in town with some lawyer, something to do with the picture.
Oh, I'm sorry to have missed him. I slept so late because I was up until practically dawn going over the script. I came up with some interesting ideas for my character I wanted to discuss with him.
Well, he said they'd be home by noon.
I want to wish you all the luck in the world on your new project, Mrs. Madison.
Thank you.
If you'll all excuse me, I have some packing to do.
Oh, Brian, I haven't felt so marvelous in years.
I'm really happy for you, Mom.
I've heard second-rate acting students sound more convincing than that.
Don't mind me.
Brian, your mother is about to resurrect her career, and your father is going to produce his first theatrical release in 5 years. What's it going to take to put a smile on your face?
I'm just concerned about Paige.
Oh, she's going to be perfect in the role of the cousin.
Yeah, if she ever gets to go in front of the cameras.
Why shouldn't she?
Mom, right now Paige is upstairs, getting ready to go shopping downtown by herself.
Darling, last night Paige assured me that the danger is past, and I'm sure Steve wouldn't let her go out alone unless he felt the same way.
And what happens if they're both wrong?
You've appointed yourself a one-man worrying committee for Paige?
Mom, you know that I'm very concerned about Paige's well-being. And I don't just mean about these threats on her life.
I don't follow you.
All right? Last night, Dad and I had another father-son chat about the situation.
Oh. Look, why can't you simply forget about that?
Mom, when I walked out of the house 3 years ago, I was very much in love with Paige.
I know you were hurt, darling.
Of course, no one bothered to tell me that I wasn't allowed to be in love with Paige because my stepsister was my real sister.
Well, we never said anything because Owen and I weren't sure how you'd react to learn that Owen is your natural father as well as Paige's.
Guess I didn't take the news too well, did I?
Darling, this is all in the past. Paige is your sister. You simply can't think about her as you did 3 years ago.
Well, that's one of the reasons why it's very hard for me to stay around here now, Mom. Because I know the truth, and Paige doesn't. Every time I see her, I want to tell her.
Well, you can't.
Isn't it about time she knew?
Your father would never permit it. Look, maybe this charade has been carried on much too long. But stirring up the old ashes would only cause a lot of pain for all of us, especially now. This movie project is going to bring us so much closer together as a family. Things are going so well now. The truth could ruin everything.
I thought the truth set people free.
Telling Paige the truth would serve no purpose. Look, whatever feeling she had for you of that sort, that schoolgirl crush is in the past. She has Steve now.
Mom, that romance exists only in your mind.
Oh, no. No.
Mother, as of today, Steve's job here is finished and he will be leaving the house. Probably Paige will never see him again.
You're wrong, Brian.
Mother, Paige and Steve are not lovers and they never have been. Now, I don't want to hear any more about it.
Brian.
No. Excuse me.
Well, I just notified the suppliers to cancel our next delivery.
Yeah, I figured I'd pack some of these glasses away so they won't collect dust. Less to clean when we reopen.
Mickey, do me a favor and call those people who made reservations and tell them we'll be closing down temporarily.
Well, how long you figure on closing?
I think a week will be sufficient.
If we stayed open, we'd do a hell of a business. People want to see the bullet hole.
Don't worry about it. This time next week it'll be old news and we can reopen in peace. The sooner I forget about this, the better.
You were really shaken up last night.
I hate violence, Mickey. I can imagine how you must have felt. You killed a man.
I'm still kind of numb, I guess. I don't know, you yelled and I reacted and went for my gun.
Well, I guess if you'd had time to think, you would have reacted differently.
What do you mean?
No, I mean, you not only saved Miss Madison's life, but that of Steve Guthrie as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Save the neck of the creep that killed my brother.
I'm sorry I brought it up. Well, I hope you'll use the upcoming week to rest and relax completely. Will you be going anywhere?
I really don't know. Time off was sort of unexpected.
Oh, it's a forced vacation, Mickey. As such, you'll be paid in full for the whole week.
That's very generous of you, Mr. Dorn. Do you have any special plans for the week?
You know, aside from my weekend at Palace Park, I haven't been away from this place since I started it. I just want to lie in the sun and relax for a couple of days.
I'm sure Mrs. Dorn will be very happy about the time you get to spend together.
I'm afraid Margot's schedule won't permit her the leisure to take time off.
Gee, that's too bad.
Yes, it's a pity that newlyweds have to go on separate vacations. I guess I'll just have to find another way to amuse myself. I'll take that, Mickey. I'll take it in my office. Hello?
Hello, my poor baby. How are you?
Raven, how you doing?
Well, I'm fine, but you must be a bundle of nerves after last night.
It was an unsettling experience.
Well, I was so worried about you because if that man had shot you and not the other guy, what would I have done?
I can assure you I'm intact.
Good, good. Aren't you going to ask me how I feel?
Raven, how are you feeling?
Awful. I feel like I'm going to die.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What seems to be the problem?
Remember the other night I told you I was coming down with something?
Yes, and Dr. Dorn offered to make a house call.
Well, Dr. Dorn, I have a stomach ache and chills, and I think I have a fever of 105.
Oh, that really sounds serious.
Well, it is serious, and my husband is going to walk in this door any time now and want to take me on this campaign tour. And, you know, I really hate to disappoint him, but I think I'm going to be too sick to go.
Well, there's not much we can do if you're lying in bed.
No, I think the best thing is to just stay in Monticello and get plenty of bed rest.
Well, I sure appreciate your squeezing me in this morning.
You're early. Putting in a full day's work already. Hey, look, you didn't have to come by here to pick up these papers. I would have been more than glad to drop them off at your office.
That's okay. As long as you got the paperwork done this early, I want to keep the ball rolling.
You weren't kidding when you said you wanted to take care of this as soon as possible.
That I do.
Where the hell are they? Here they are. Look, when both parties agree, Logan, nothing to it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to feel a lot better when the law recognizes Jamie as my son. James Jameson Swift has such a nice ring to it.
Jamie already has your name, Logan. This paperwork is just a formality.
It's a formality I want done.
All right. Just make sure Raven signs right here on the dotted line and get it notarized. Return it to me and I'll give it to the judge, and then Jamie is yours legally.
Terrific. I really appreciate this.
I'm just glad that Raven was so willing to get this out of the way.
Well, you know the reason that she was so willing, don't you? Because it doesn't cost her any effort. Raven does not like effort.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure glad she decided to come on this tour with me. I tell you, if I had to leave Jamie alone with her now, I don't think I'd relax for a minute.
I know that, Logan. That's why I didn't make a fuss when April said she wanted the kid. Don't worry. We'll take good care of him.
It's funny. He'll be better off with you two than he would with his own mother. It's a terrible thing to say, and it's true.
Look, he just likes our place. You know, the trees, the grass, the woods, the flowers.
I don't blame him there. You own a very nice place.
Unfortunately, I don't own that much of it.
Draper, you know, that's all over and done with now. And if you keep brooding about it, all you're going to do is give yourself an ulcer.
I'm past the brooding stage, Logan. I'm at the get-even part.
Pay Margot back, right?
Every nickel.
Don't you think it's going to be a bit of a burden carrying a full mortgage and a $35,000 loan?
Yeah, we're going to have to cut back on some things.
Yeah, like food.
Look, Logan, I don't want to owe Margot anything, and I don't care how much or how long it takes. I'm going to pay back every cent.
Okay. Is this my copy?
Yeah, the checks.
Look, I got a plane to catch. You mind if I use your phone, call Raven, let her know I'm on my way?
No, help yourself. I'm going to finish my conversation with Mike. You can leave the dime on the desk.
Thank you so much. See you in a sec.
Okay.
Hello?
Oh, hi, hon. Listen, I'm on my way. Put the bags by the door, and I'll be there in 15 minutes.
Okay, but could you stop at the drugstore and get something for me?
What else do you need? You've been packing for 3 days.
I know, I need some aspirin, honey. I don't feel very
Well, all that's left to do is put a gone fishing sign on the door, and that's it.
Well, I want to check the supply room and take care of those reservations. Why don't you go ahead? I'll close up.
Well, I am rather anxious to start the vacation.
Yeah, well, why don't you give me a number who I can reach you in case anything comes up?
No. I don't want to see, hear, think, or feel about the unicorn in the next week. You'll take care of anything that comes up.
Yeah, you can count on me.
Okay, have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you have a great time, Mr.
Bye, thank you.
Toby?
Paige, are you alone?
Don't worry. The place isn't surrounded. Nobody's gonna get on a bullhorn and tell you to come out with your hands up.
I still have to be very careful.
You told me Zack was the last threat to my life. You know how long it's been since I've been able to walk down the street without looking over my shoulder?
I feel lousy about last night. That creep Zack must have been tailing me, hoping that I would lead him to you.
Toby, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to walk out of here last night. You saved my life.
I told you I came to Monticello to keep my eye on you.
Once the smoke cleared last night, do you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to stand up and point to you and say, see that man who saved my life? He's Tobias.
Well, I'm glad you thought better of that.
I wanted Steve and the police and everybody to have an eyewitness account that you were telling the truth. That you were trying to help me and you had nothing to do with those attempts on my life.
Oh, Paige, even if the police believed you, they're not going to think of me exactly as a Boy Scout. I mean, I'm still wanted for the break-in on the arms depot, for lifting those rifles and trying to give them to those guerrilla fighters.
You were just trying to help those poor people.
That's what's important to me, Paige. That you still believe in me.
I never doubted you, Toby.
Hey, is that the way you kiss somebody who just saved your life?
I guess my nerves are a little on edge.
No, I don't think that's it at all.
I'm sorry, Toby.
You know, I always suspected there was someone else. Even when we were together, you were always thinking about someone else.
I don't want to discuss this.
No, you never want to discuss it. Well, I've got nothing to hide, Paige. It's no big secret how I feel about you.
I'm home.
I'm in the bedroom.
What are you doing? We're supposed to be leaving soon.
Oh, Logan, I just don't even have the strength to go to the closet and get a dress. I feel terrible.
All right, what's the matter?
Remember, I told you I was coming down with something at April's?
Yeah, I thought that was your hay fever acting up.
No, I got a bug. I just feel achy all over. I want to die.
Yeah, well, before we make the funeral arrangements, have you managed to take your temperature?
I didn't want to know what it would be.
I'll get the thermometer. By the way, I stopped in at Draper's office on the way over here and picked up the paperwork for Jamie's adoption.
Was that necessary? Look, you're my husband. That means you're Jamie's father.
Yeah, well, I just want it nice and legal.
Well, do we have to do that now?
It's no big deal. You sign the paper, I get it notarized, I take it to a judge and he signs it, then Jamie is legally my little boy. I wish we could get it done before we have to go, and it is the first item on the agenda when we get back from this tour. Hope you're going to be well enough to go on a trip.
I want to see the paper.
I can't understand you, and you can't talk and have the thermometer work at the same time.
I want to see the
Why write? We could play charades. How many words? I don't want to... You can read the papers on the plane.
Logan, please.
Okay.
I want to
All right. All right. Put it back in your mouth. Keep your mouth closed. Okay, here we go. This first page is the only thing that really concerns you, and that's where you sign. We can take a look at the thermometer now.
Here, you read this.
Okay.
Oh, honey, I can't understand a word this says. You're
Raven,
just going to have to explain
You've
it to
got
me.
a fever of 102.
Well, if it's 103, let's sell.
Well, that's not funny. You're really sick. I better call Dr. Lacey.
Oh, wait a minute now.
You're
I
too
just
sick
have a
to
virus.
travel, too. We're going to have to cancel the whole tour.
No, wait, why? Why?
Because I can't leave you alone like this. I gotta take care of you.
What are you gonna do? Bring me orange juice and change the television channels? You gotta go
I
on that
will
tour.
issue a press release that says the candidate is at the side of his stricken wife. I'll look like Mr. Domestic and the voters will love me.
Logan, the voters want to see and hear you. Now, you just let me lie here and rest for a couple of days, and I'll join you later, okay?
You sure? I mean, being sick and alone is the pits.
No, I don't want you to change your plans. You go.
I don't know.
Come on, come on. I don't want you to lose votes because of me. You go. It's your career.
I've seen that gun before.